Good morning.
Morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are in a secret location.
Quite a
hotel.
neutral location. Just to pre-warn, we're not entirely. I'm not 100% confident with the Wi-Fi signal, so apologies if it drifts a little throughout. But I've got us to. It's looking pretty strong at the moment, so fingers crossed it'll be fine. How is everyone?
Good morning. Oh, we had a kind of we had an unusual evening yesterday, didn't we? We had the life of a student.
Oh yeah, I felt like a student. It was strange.
Yeah,
it was strange. Both in terms of the food we ate and that thing we did by the pond.
Yeah. We were very studenty.
Yeah.
We have been weighed under with the horrors of the world, deeply weighed, and we're constantly on news channels, and we have a lot of people sending us a lot of stuff and charities and all of that. So we said, let's just do something really unusual, go for a walk. And a cheap meal out.
And then we did a fart walk afterwards.
And then we did a fart walk afterwards.
We didn't fart, but that's what it's called.
Have you heard of the fart walk, guys? Actually, it's brilliant for your body. You go for a walk after you eat. Now, many other warm countries do this very good.
My granddad did it all the time.
Always go
Older
for a
generations do.
Yeah, it brings down your inflammation, sorts out your gut. But it really helps if you're somebody that suffers a bit after you've eaten, because it helps move. So
it certainly helped me move.
Yeah, that didn't move. So so that was our unusual.
Love a says Bridget. Just quickly, I think I spotted earlier when I set up the live. Is it Clodagh's birthday?
Is it?
If it is, we're going to sing you happy birthday now.
We sure are. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Clodagh. Happy birthday to you.
Bless you. Thank you, Christopher. Hope you're well, matey.
Hi, everyone. So, obviously, we've got lots of news. The world is batshit bonkers at the moment. But first of all, could I ask you, please, a little favour? Just hit that subscribe button. It's only Mark and I. We really do work on this channel 7 days a week around the clock. If you could see us, we're still often up at midnight, 1 a.m. looking, and it really helps us. But also, when you share videos about Gaza, that helps the world. So please do that.
And I also think we're in a situation where the situation in America is becoming so extreme that I think we're going to need to start sharing messages and content from there. Yeah. Just also, just a little note, a little more frequently, we're going to try and do something that I did last night, which is I kind of hived off the homeschooling chat and just dropped it on the channel as a separate topic. So I just took the 20 minutes or so that we talked about the new homeschooling bill and just landed it as a homeschooling focused film. The reason for that being, if you're just interested, for some people who are just interested solely in that subject, it's a relatively safe way to go in.
So I don't think we've suddenly gone mad. It's just a new way of doing it.
Yeah. So for those of you who've watched this, you probably won't want to watch it again. But for those who haven't, there is a homeschooling focused upload that landed last night.
So curfews and resistance to ICE across US and UK.
And UK sanctions extremist Israeli ministers.
And UK. Just gobsmacking what is going on in America. Each minute almost. We were like, what the hell?
Well, why don't we often show clips. I'll just show you a few photos because there are some remarkable images coming out of America at the moment.
So where we are at the moment, aren't we, that Trump has put out troops, Marines, the
4,000 National Guard, 700 Marines
into LA.
And the Texas governor has denounced. Sorry, I read this differently earlier. I thought he denounced the deployment. Texas governor announces deployment of National Guard in Texas. I do apologize. I literally ripped this thinking, oh wow, at least even the Texas governor.
Oh no, well they wouldn't.
So that's interesting. These are other images coming from Los Angeles of protesters. Interesting, again, holding the flag upside down there. Now it's interesting that the National Guard and the Marines have no power of arrest whatsoever. They can only protect property. They can only protect areas. They can only implement curfew, but the power of arrest only pivots back to the LAPD.
Look at this girl walking along in front of them.
Incredibly bold.
She's brave because they are shooting people willy-nilly.
Well, we're going to show you some clips of that. I just want to ask a quick question. I mean, lots of people who are obviously anti-Trump and anti this ICE immigration and customs crackdown are going to great lengths to say things like, I heard Senk say it on the Young Turks. It's not that waving a Mexican flag is bad. but maybe it's not right to do it. It's provocative or inflammatory.
Well, yeah, I mean, lots of different.
What do you think about that? Morning, Reese.
They're saying wave the Mexican and the American because that's what you are. You know, you're a Mexican living in America, and that's what you have. You know, many of them have the legal status for that, and that's what they're stating, really, aren't they? And so I can understand why some people are saying that, and it is inflammatory, I suppose. Braxton, the snake fiend. Hi, we haven't seen you before. My state, Louisiana, is next door neighbors with Texas.
What's going on there? What's happening there? I'm quite shocked. I'm shocked that I'm more shocked that I completely misread that headline.
Yeah, but we have had a very late night with a wake up. The fire alarm went off in this hotel, and so I've been dealing with a lot of clips. Forgive yourself.
Right. Oh, well, this is interesting. Reese Roberts, thank you for flagging this up. There's a conversation happening in America within the Black community, basically asking, should Black people care? Now a lot of Black people feel connected to showing solidarity, but some do not. Can I ask a question, Reese? And this is a big question. I suppose I've been surprised by, you know, Malcolm X and previous civil rights movements have often, leaders have often invoked and talked about Palestine.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen as much crossover between the Black Lives Matter, because it's a campaign and a movement that still exists. I've not seen as much crossover between that and the cause of the Palestinians as I would have perhaps liked to have seen or thought I might see.
It's always notable on the marches, actually, in London, isn't it? Because
Dee Murphy due to fly home. Abbey Reid update: Irish citizen, UK-based Irish citizen who was kidnapped. Do you remember?
Oh,
yes.
For
witnessing. Abbey Reid says Dee Murphy is due. That's brilliant news.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Dear heart, I have seen the riots in Ireland. They're incredibly complex, aren't they? Because they're both they're anti-immigrant protests, and also it was pivoting around a young girl who was assaulted as well. So we'll. What I might do is focus on that a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got to get across it.
Yeah, I don't want to sort of tip into it and not really know what the hell I'm talking about. So Reese, it's interesting that you say around this there's a similar, and I noticed that Greg J. Stoker, who is a campaigner and activist for Palestine, he's talked on his Instagram this morning about how there needs to be more dialogue and cohesion between the protesters who have been protesting on behalf of Palestine, and recognizing something that really we said on the first day of these riots. There is a direct correlation, not only to the optics of what we're seeing, but to ostensibly what Trump is doing psychologically to people who already feel on the margins and disenfranchised.
That's interesting. Me too. But it shows how much
MAGA did win over the African-American community last year.
But that wouldn't explain it here, would it?
No, that's true.
You don't feel the presence of the community within the protests of Palestine.
Oxidus Magicus, I love your name, and I haven't seen you comment before. America is far more religious in terms of Christianity than in Europe, true, especially the evangelicals, and they support Israel. That could be why you see less crossover. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, and that evangelical Christianity, if you like, and there is this curious aspect, isn't there, where the belief that Israel should, in a sense, be the cradle of, is it the end of the world, the start of the world, or certainly dark, destructive things, seems to be baked into the evangelical mission, doesn't it? That Israel is somehow part of the. I mean, I don't know the religious details. Reese, I think the reasoning for that is some Black people unfortunately feel insular in terms of predominantly caring for their own issues. And I think Black people feel too jeopardized by speaking on it. That's an interesting point. So in a sense, it's a deep cultural, societal, historical trauma of if you speak out, you too will be prejudiced against. That makes sense.
And I'm dealing with enough kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. It's going batshit crazy out there in a really frightening, actually incredibly depressing way when you see what the speed and the quite obvious manipulation that Trump is doing to distract from his own problems. He's using the American people, abusing the Constitution. And I loved this video earlier of this Marine. Have we got that? Can we just listen to this? We need more of this.
Listen.
For Donald Trump's agenda. Why now? It's because the military was called upon innocent protesters. We, in our oath to serve, we serve the people of the United States. The Constitution these constitutional rights are being stripped and just denied, and the military will not be pawns to that. So I'm calling upon the conscience of military members who served previously and now. We have a conscience, we have mind, and we have a duty and moral obligation to say no and resist evil.
Because of course that's what happened when Trump was in before, wasn't it? And his, I don't know, would it be defense minister? I don't know, said put the troops out, shoot them in their legs. Do you remember Black Lives Matter? And he absolutely refused, the general, and said, that isn't what we're here for. We're not here to turn on the American people.
And that's where I think Mayor Bass, is it? I think where she was correct, where this is a test case. I think what Hegseth and Trump are testing is the compliance of the military. And
that's what Newsom says.
Yeah, and the extent, I'm going to play that, and the extent to which they can control the situation, that they can control the military. So I, you know, my concern when I see a vox pop like that is, yes, it's brilliant. How representative is it of the military in general? How, to what extent, now that she's said that, is she in breach of her commitment to the art? I bet there's somewhere they could get her for having broken some other oath.
Well, they did say, didn't they, when Trump tried last time, the oath that they sign would contradict what he's asking them to do.
But I bet there's a way in which she could be court-martialed as well.
I bet. Well, I mean, the thing is, you don't even have to do anything illegal anymore in America, do you? To be shot or to be deported.
I'm going to play Gavin Newsom's
thrown in the gulag.
A very short clip from Gavin Newsom's 10-minute address last night. But I do just want to read this again from Braxton in Louisiana. Yes. Yep, as I've said in my upper comment, Black Americans have always been fighting other groups' fights alongside their own, and now foundational Black Americans are taking a back seat, focusing on self. Okay,
we got to find out more about this. So I want to know about here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's Gavin Newsom. This is, as I say, a very short clip that I think Miss Ann Harriman sub-clipped and put onto Instagram.
Snatched off the streets without a warrant, based only on suspicion or skin color, then none of us are safe. Authoritarian regimes begin by targeting people who are least able to defend themselves, but they do not stop there. This brazen abuse of power by a sitting president inflamed a combustible situation, putting our people, our officers, and even our National Guard at risk. Take time, reflect on this perilous moment. A president who wants to be bound by no law or constitution, perpetuating a unified assault on American traditions.
This is interesting. Listen to this. Oxidus Magicus. The irony is that the Fourth Amendment is designed to protect against a tyrannical government, yet the people as staunch protectors of the Fourth Amendment are the ones now supporting the militarization.
Wow.
It's
just so fucked up.
Everything about it is fucked up.
I mean, it's just the enmeshment on the enmeshment. There was somebody new there, new name, just go down. Jane Archer. How is one person able to bring down the whole country without being... This is the question we keep asking ourselves. The Constitution is supposed to save America from all of this, is it not? But the Republicans seem to be turning a blind eye, and the Democrats are hiding under the sofa.
Well, you could argue Gavin Newsom is the loudest speaking Democrat, but it does feel like there's an enormous amount of sort of silence and sort of hand wringing going on in the backgrounds. But in terms of the people, I just want to show a few clips, because this is... People do need to feel some degree of hope. And what I've got is some selections of, there are huge protests across America. Columbus, above, Chicago, Burlington, Denver, Boston, New York,
to the people.
Milwaukee, Long Beach, Washington. I mean, you know, there are, and we've got, hang on, let me just get this one here. We've got marches in lots of... Notice they're well seeing all of that. And of course, these, like the peace marches against Palestine, these are peaceful. These are peaceful protests. But then you throw in 2,000
I worry about the agitators that get thrown in as well. Because he needs this so bad. He needs to fight.
So there are lots and lots and lots of people.
They're very brave.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they're really brave. I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, you're as brave as the Israelis who are walking along with the photographs of Palestinian babies, because you have a nutcase in charge who bears no thought for what was right and wrong.
No.
Have you got the clip of the?
Yes, I'm going to play this. So this is footage. So just to give you some details on what the latest news is in LA, and then I'll show you this clip. Mass arrests have been occurring. So of course we've got this curious situation where, under normal circumstances, Gavin Newsom and the mayor, but Gavin Newsom will call in the National Guard for California. What's kind of irked and kind of broken protocol is the fact that Donald Trump went over the top of Gavin Newsom and brought in the National Guard for him. Now we have a situation which is combustible, is kind of inflammatory, is febrile. It's a tricky one for Gavin Newsom and those who are anti-Trump, because they have to enact law enforcement at the same time. Looting has been happening. Apple stores have been broken into.
And for those individual people that have had their shops, smashed in, stuff stolen, who might have worked all their life, that is outrageous and cannot be accepted. But again, I worry how genuine some of that is, because if I was Trump, with Trump's psychopathy, would you not just go in and say, go on, Proud Boys, go on, you go in and just do whatever you want, we'll make sure you're all right if you get arrested.
Yeah,
so we're just in a place where it's just so difficult to believe anything, isn't it?
Absolutely. And this
is so manipulated.
So bearing in mind what's happening here on a particular intersection in Los Angeles, a woman is trying to get home, another woman is filming it from across the walkway.
Well, initially she was just filming the
soldiers. And this is clearly them enacting a curfew. So curfews have been enacted in certain areas in downtown LA, but just check this out.
Focus on this guy right there. Look at him. Trigger happy as fuck. So I just showed you him, right? Look at that. Oh, what's passing by? Where's our money going, right? Where are our tax dollars going, right? Right? Yeah. So we've got trigger happy fucking bitch over here. Look at.
So here's a woman trying to get to her home.
That's just by where those police are.
They're telling her to move, but that's a public sidewalk.
She just wants to go home.
They're telling her to move. Watch, if they shoot her.
They have. They shot at the floor in front of her.
At her stomach, point blank range.
Holy fuck.
Go on. No push yourself. One can help the other dog. I love being
Where'd it get really fuck off. She's not doing anything. Come on. We're moving, assholes! Oh, you got it. Hang on. Out of their sight. Here. I got some supplies in my bag. Sit down.
Bless her.
They shot her. Yeah. Point blank. I literally just got it on video. They're gonna shoot. We're moving! Stop! She's injured! Come on, we gotta get across the street.
Her skin color, I'm afraid, will not be helping her there.
Where are you going?
Back.
I live here. Okay. Come on. They just literally shot her point blank. No, she's not okay. Yeah, try right here, and let me just look at it, unless you want to go inside.
Oh.
Holy fuck, you guys. Okay. Here.
Do we know what's happened to her?
No.
Can I just say, if we need any reminding that looking at Palestine, looking at Los Angeles, we are held, and I'm saying this as a white middle-class male with privilege, every marginalized person is being controlled, hemmed in, enslaved, punished, and destroyed by white supremacy. It's a
white supremacist is in the White House.
As Greta Thunberg said yesterday, when simply asked why have none of the Western governments done anything, I like the fact that she kind of distilled it so simply: racism.
Yeah,
it's all it is.
Yeah,
it's all it is. And Trump is working on the premise that the vast majority of those in the military and in the army, because as we know, and I'm sorry to anyone who does work in the police in America, look at all the dramas. It's a fine blue line between criminality and law-abiding officers. There is a thirst for law enforcement in many sectors and many parts of the American army and many parts of the American police.
And the same here.
And he knows that.
And the same. Samia, hi Samia. Samia, oh, she's gone up. What's she saying? Yeah. It's
Hunger Games come into a country near all of us.
Near all of us. And as we say, Samia, when we're on the marches, and I say this all the time, in our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. What we are seeing there, we can have done unto anybody. And it feels like Trump is following the same playbook.
Dear heart, just girls, no arms, no threat. That clip, I'm going to upload onto my Instagram. I think that's one of those clips. Everyone needs to store it. Everyone needs to hold it. And we need to do a little bit of digging around into what's happened to that girl, because clearly it started to kick off around her.
I saw something afterwards, another clip with a journalist coming up to her. I think they'd been shot at as well. And he was saying, can we do an interview? So it's going to go everywhere. Because
Braxton the Snake Fiend, I love your contributions, Braxton, thank you. The Democratic white supremacists are the worst because they low-key with it. They try to be slick.
Exactly.
Well, I would say the same about the weird thing about that, Braxton, do you agree with this? Trump, horrendous for Palestine, but you know what you're getting with Trump? Biden and all his lot want to pretend there's something else, and I find that infinitely more sinister.
While sending billions of dollars worth of your money in bombs to a tiny strip of land, and they ain't finished yet.
Christopher Kundell, the British photographer who was shot, he's got a massive wound, is now on a vacuum pump to try and close it. I've had that machine before. It's so painful.
Big to operate with stitches.
And there was, of course, also the Australian journalist who was shot.
Well, apparently that girl was shot in the stomach. You saw how close she was, so she's going to be in big trouble, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's trying to get to her house.
Oxidus Magicus, during Trump's first term, you couldn't watch the news without hearing the word impeach over Russiagate. This situation is leagues above and beyond all that, and I have not heard that word once, apart from Musk, who's apologized. Because
they fucked it all up with the timing of that, and that their impeachment got him back in, played a huge part in getting him back in.
I've said it all along. They were far too overzealous.
You kept saying at the time they need to stop now, because what's happening is it's building the MAGA base.
What they should have done when Trump finally, after January the 6th, was not sought retribution and justice, in inverted commas. They should have let him become very, 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 very lonely on a golf course.
Because that's where he was at.
Yeah.
That's where he was at.
The Democrats constructed, in fact, I'm going
he's
to
so
so
good
far
at
as to say,
manipulating.
Obama is what triggered Trump's initial aspiration for the White House with his kind of roasting of him. And then I have to confess that the rest of the kind of Democratic, glitterati, Nancy Pelosi, etc., their zeal and just their stupidity led to the Trump bump, as I call it. The Trump pump.
And because he's so good at manipulating Trump, every time he was talking about what they were doing to him, he was reaching out and saying, like they do to you. He's such a con man.
Reese Roberts, beautiful analogy. They fed him like a gremlin during his away years. Absolutely right. I just want to show this last clip here too, just relating to America, because it's quite compelling. This is a House representative, I believe, talking about the possibility of Newsom being arrested.
Then the borders are said that he wasn't going to do it, because obviously if they did arrest Gavin Newsom, then it would change the narrative, and then it would be about the illegal arrest of a sitting governor who was elected by the majority of voters in the state of California, and not about a felon who is in the White House who is manufacturing chaos to distract from the fact that he is cutting hundreds of billions of dollars in needed programs that will kill people. This is about if it bleeds, it leads. So he has created and manufactured violence so that he can have a show on the television. But other people, older people, folks who are disabled, young people are going to be bleeding when Medicaid gets cut, when people are evicted from their homes.
Oh my God.
Flood the zone, Michi. Flood the zone.
Just quickly. How are you all feeling about what's going on in America? Do you feel that? Because I think a lot of people in this country just go, oh, America. You know, there has to be this understanding that it affects the whole world. You know, I've quoted this before, but Kay Adams said to me years ago that she never remembers she said it. And I thought at the time, that's a good point. She said the whole world should get to vote for who the American president is because of the way they affect the whole world.
I thought you were going to say the one of when America sneezes, everyone catches a cold.
Yeah. So like, how are you actually feeling?
Terrified.
Confused,
I'm going to read some out,
terrified,
Elizabeth Merritt, terrified.
Disorientated.
I fear it will happen here, says Harley Tree.
Well, and Harley
really disabled.
And the thing is, it's not beyond the realms of possibility because Farage shares the same philosophies, and you know, we are separated now from Europe. Brexit, how wonderful that is. Trump loves Farage. They're best buddies. They're sitting in bed watching movies and eating pizzas and popcorn kind of buddies, you know, and could finance him fantastically. It's not beyond.
On that, I just want to say, let's reach back to the riots after the Southport tragedy. Was it Southport? Yeah. You know, we don't have guns in the same way that they do in America. So things, fortunately, don't take on such sort of an immediately kind of life-threatening kind of hue. Though, look at the riots, they become life-threatening really quite quickly. I think the same thing will happen in England. I think it will have its own curiously British sort of sense to it, because only we would have someone like Farage and the Reform Party. But I do think, regardless of, and I know we have a lot of people who support reform, and we're more than happy to hear your points of view, but my opinion is that reform has become the acceptable face of profound, corrosive racism, nationalism, and supremacism. And in the few councils that reform have won in the UK, they're trying to enact the same Doge policy that Musk was enacting over there.
When you said on that first day, anybody that's working from home or works for any sort of DEI, I can't remember what our diversity group, prepared to be looking for another job. I mean, you know, we've got to keep our ears open. We've got to listen. We've got to just not sit and think, oh, this could never happen to us here. I mean, the thing is, we have much better checks and balances with our parliament. We do. But you couldn't just, manage to just put the army out in the way that
No, you couldn't. But this is where it's really worrying that we have a leader such as Starmer, who rather than seeking to go to the population and say it's wrong to think like this, say dealing with migrants, how to deal with migrants and hostility and all this, rather than trying to win the argument, it feels like he's simply trying to nick some of the political territory of the Reform Party. That's dangerous, because what that means is that every party is drifting to the right in order to occupy the T-zone of the match, if you see what I mean. Laurie Sue Cragen clamped.
As a disabled senior citizen, if I lose my health benefit, a simple infection treated with antibiotics could kill me, since the cost of a prescription is unaffordable. This is the reality.
Wow.
And what's so sad, so many of the people that believed in Trump and probably still do are the ones that are likely. There's an awful lot of MAGA that claim Medicaid. They're not even really aware. I was listening to Scaramouche and Katy Kay on this. They're not even aware that they're going to be cut.
Because blind hate is much more sort of alluring than that pragmatism. Carol Robertson, what is so scary is that I know people who unless it walks down their street, they're not interested. We have to be. Well, this is what we've been saying. To be honest with you, you know, there's not an I
don't want to be, because it's horrible.
No, but the connection between the, you know, ignoring humanitarian international law and destroying an entire population, the optics on that means that the entire levels of morality and go down a bit around the world, and the levels of tolerated barbarism go up a bit. And all you need is just a slight modulation towards barbarism and away from morality or the sanctity of human life, and the globe does tip over. And that's why, if you're just sat there just thinking, what the fuck has Israel and Gaza got to do with me? Just go off to Gaza and shut the fuck up. Well, because if they're allowed to get away with this, we and you and other people will be next. I'm pretty sure white men will be last, but there will come a point for white men where they really need to worry, because if you go around the world destroying it in the way that we have done, there is payback. There will be payback. You can't pretend there won't be. Which kind of slightly neatly takes us towards Gaza, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
The big news yesterday is the sub-clip. Does he mention what the news is in this clip that you've got from Faulkner?
Well,
no.
I think it just comes at the end. So basically, yesterday, the British government put sanctions on Ben Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich, two very proudly violent, racist, genocidal settlers who are part of the Israeli government, and they have been very vocal throughout on their desire to wipe out the Palestinians. They won't even call them Palestinians; they're just Arabs, just generic Arabs. And yes, so the government have put sanctions on them. Of course, the sanctions will make no difference to them. Ben Gvir very quickly came out and said, well, it won't make any difference to us.
They're not interested in traveling to the UK.
We survived the Pharaohs. We will survive Keir Starmer. But that hasn't stopped them being absolutely rageful at the very idea that they would be told off about anything. Now, it's a much longer speech than this, and there's some really good detail in there. He talks about the escalation, the horrific escalation of violence on the settlers. Please all make sure you watch the Settlers documentary, the Louis Theroux, and about and how more and more settlements have been set up, and they've escalated massively.
Yeah. And it's important to say that the sanctions that they've imposed against Ben Gvir and Smotrich, Finance Minister and Home Security Minister, they are personal sanctions. And this is an important distinction yesterday, which actually means the government hasn't even sanctioned their governmental departments. So they still have power to do whatever they want.
It's absolutely nothing.
It's basically stopped them from being able to trade or travel to or deal with any finances in our country or any of the other countries that have enacted it. And as I said to Nadia, the only thing these two men are interested in is that they're interested in nowhere else in the world other than their settlements in the West Bank. That's it. So it's not going to hurt them.
Now, remember that settlements are not only illegal within international law, but also in Israel. Right, they're illegal. What they do is they come in, they terrorize, they beat up the owners of the land, they'll smash down houses, and they just steal it. They just steal it for themselves. So it really is the most brutal and awful campaign that's been going on for decades in Israel. And this is our government getting really tough.
Marco Rubio, Christopher Kundell, just on these sanctions, has threatened our Prime Minister, saying Trump won't meet him at the G7 if they don't drop them. I'm telling you now, they're also going to probably reintroduce 50% tariffs on steel if we don't remove the sanctions.
We are held round the neck by Israel.
So, wow. I mean, what's happening to the UK? We will show the clip. I just want to say this because this is really important, because lots of people do keep coming on, as do we, and we say, why don't the Arab nations do more? Countries like Jordan and Egypt, I'm not joking when I say that financially, their entire systems are controlled and held like a pair of testicles in the hands of America. And America can pull them off at any minute. They are totally beholden. You don't even know the extent to which they're beholden. And so consequently, that has an impact on their ability to do what we all want them to do, which is support, demonstrate more direct action for the Palestinians and against Israel. They're helpless. I've often used the analogy that England, the UK is the GIMP, America's GIMP. These details
prove it.
We are on a leash. And when Trump tells us to get on the floor in our plastic latex suit and bark, we will.
And as we were saying yesterday, when we were frustrated yet again with these sanctions, and it's like, what is this? We then did say, but let's be honest here. They are tied up like a kipper behind closed doors.
It's not an excuse.
I'm sure that they are. But they know that they're going to be severely punished by America if they do anything. But that doesn't mean that we as the people shouldn't keep demanding, however done up like a kipper they are. We can't just go, oh, well, let's just turn our eyes away from all these atrocities across the world and just let all these big fat cats behind the scenes just keep, puppeteering. But I do, as angry as I get with the Arab nations, as angry as I get with Keir Starmer, as angry as I get with all of them, the biggest bully in the playground has got his foot on everybody's neck.
Christopher Cundall, did you see they were saying that other Middle Eastern countries need to give up land for Palestine as Israel is too small already? Yeah, Mick Huckabee, the most repulsive man. I don't think I've come across a more objectionable, insulting, disgraceful individual than Mick Huckabee, the US ambassador to Israel. He lives in the Bible. He lives in the Bible. His real world is biblical. He is so not of this world. He's deranged and deluded, just like these two ministers are. But when they say these Arab nations should give up their land, what they're saying is all Muslims are the same. Yeah. Imagine if we were to turn around and say, hang on, most of the countries in Europe were once Christian. So Italy, give up some of your... It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work.
And let's not forget, if Egypt lets them in, they're not all going to go into nice apartments and back to their jobs and back to their education. Don't forget, they are highly educated, the Palestinians. Every university gone, every school gone, hospitals, mosques, everything razed to the ground. Genocide. No, they won't be going back into a life. They will be in the desert, in tents for decades, like they are in Jordan. There's no more space in Jordan per capita. They have the biggest shortage of water, right? Because guess who controls their water? Israel. So it all sounds very cozy. Let's just shove them into Egypt, shove them into Jordan. It's not going to work like
we're talking about them. It's like we're wrapping a present and you're putting the excess paper just out of the way. We're talking about a population that lives there. How would we tolerate being told to move?
It's like in America when they just want to get rid of all immigrants and illegal immigrants. Many who have been there decades, as we said yesterday, they pay tax, they don't get healthcare, they don't get any of that. They pay tax, and the economy needs them. The building sites, you saw yesterday, didn't we? Those pictures. How will this construction carry on? So it's like. It all sounds very neat. Just shove them all out, but and it's like we say: if you want people to stop coming to your countries, stop going to their countries and ravaging them of their resources.
I love that meme that I think I posted it yesterday, and it's been knocking around of the 3 presidents that have invaded 27 Muslim countries.
Biden, it was Biden.
No, it was the Bushes and the Obama and fucking whatever that awful guy is, Clinton. All of that lot.
And how many Muslims together had they killed?
11 million or something.
And they're not called terrorists. That was the meme.
But don't come over to our country if you're in trouble. We just want to be able to destroy your country. First. Let's play this clip from Faulkner, who is what is he? He's not the foreign minister.
Middle East.
Are acting alongside Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Norway, who have also announced their own measures today. These 2 men are responsible for inciting settler violence against Palestinian communities in the West Bank, violence which has led to the deaths of Palestinian civilians and the displacement of whole towns and villages. This violence constitutes an abuse of Palestinians' human rights. It is cruel, it is degrading, and it is completely unacceptable. We have told the Israeli government repeatedly that we would take tougher action if this did not stop. It still did not. Mr. Smotrich said there is no such thing as a Palestinian nation. Mr. Ben-Gvir has spoken of his rights in the West Bank, a territory his government is occupying, as being more important than the rights of millions of Palestinians. Their own words condemn them, Mr. Speaker.
Their own words to condemn them, and I'm a bit annoyed now that we haven't got his unbelievable genocidal quotes. I've got one here. I'm not generalising, but those who are disloyal to the state should not be here. Anyone raising their hands on a Jew must have their hands cut off. What about if you do it like that? Because you're getting your face kicked in by 5 IDF soldiers.
The problem is they're so psychologically located in fictional biblical tales. They talk in the terms of Herod and King Herod. They talk in they're sort of drunk on the mythology and the mythos of killing of babies and destruction of populations and the parting of seas.
LGBTQ plus community, they have no place neither in Jerusalem nor anywhere else in the state of Israel.
That's a really good point, because people often say if you were gay, you wouldn't last 2 minutes with Hamas. Equally, if you were gay and Ben Gvir was standing opposite you, you wouldn't last 2 minutes there either. He'd probably kiss you. I've just got a feeling that Michael Jackson was right. The government doesn't give a shit about us. Emma does life. I just want to show you, just because we haven't lost sight of this. This is the latest footage posted by Motaz this morning. And this footage is really distressing. If you want to see what is, because we're getting less and less footage of what's actually happening on the ground in Palestine. And this is, as I say, this is from Motaz. This is his Instagram feed. Look at what Palestinians have been reduced to. They are hurling boxes above their head. I'm going to play it again because it's so fucking shocking and everyone needs to see it. Please screen record it, share this with people.
There's no system.
They're being shot at.
They're being shot at, and they just put the feed out and they let them fight for it. It is the Hunger Games. When you're seeing, because there's so many amputees now in Gaza, and you're seeing them with one leg trying to get in amongst that to get some food for their family. But hey, America, let's punish anyone that says that this is in any way unacceptable.
Trump never started a war, says Mark Tullett. Only president for 40 years. He's anti-war. He wants peace in the world. But he's about to create the biggest civil war in his own country. He's never been interested in war abroad. So awful. He's engaged in the biggest culture war, Mark Tullett, which is going to be infinitely more damaging.
And don't forget, he's sending on a daily basis millions of dollars worth of your tax money in bombs to bomb those people that are starving. You know, so he loves war. If it keeps him in the headlines, he loves anything that keeps him in the headlines. Anything.
Me too. Trump has started a war, economic war. Glass Shield. Israel is a mental health institution with millions of patients. That's very much Glass Shield's opinion, but thank you for it. I'm going to show you some footage of convoys, humanitarians. We've had the Madeleine. You know, I think 8 members of the crew are still being held in Israel. They've been told that they've entered Israel illegally, even though Israel captured them. Riddle me that. Riddle me that one. That's some perverted kind of odd legal language there. But I'm just going to show footage with no audio because there was music off the back of this. But this is footage of, it's called the Sumud Aid Convoy, which is heading through Libya. I think they're still seeking permits to pass through certain parts of Egypt to get to the Gaza border, the Rafah crossing. This is a road-based, if you like, flotilla version.
It's extraordinary.
Yeah. I love what you said, telling me what the meaning of the word Sumud is.
Sumud in Arabic means steadfastness or resilience, and is a key concept within Palestinian culture and resistance. It represents the unwavering spirit and endurance of the Palestinians in the face of adversity, including occupation and hardship. The word is often used to describe Palestinian non-violent resistance and their ability to persevere despite the most challenging of circumstances. So this is a group of humanitarians made up of all sorts of a diverse group. I think there's many doctors within that group wanting to break the siege. And again, for anyone that might say, do they really think they're going to make enough of a difference? All that's going. This is about highlighting. This is doing the job that all the member states should be doing by land, by sea, by air, doing everything to break the blockade. Because as we say every day on this show, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of trucks on the border packed full with food and medical supplies that the West is aiding and abetting to disallow through to starving people. And I have got, later on today, I'm going to be posting on my Instagram, and I would really, really love it if you could all share it. This is a little boy who is Zachariah. I'm going to be posting about him. At the moment, he's starving to death. They nearly lost him last week, children not numbers. I'm not showing you the picture of how he's at the moment. He's starving to death because they can't get formula to him. And children not numbers are paying a huge amount of money to buy him dates and yogurt to keep him alive day by day. So when people want to, and governments want to tear down brave individuals like Greta Thunberg and like these who are putting aside their lives, their careers, their safety to highlight the thousands that are like Zachariah, that are starving to death. Mm-hmm. So let's give them lots of support.
Yeah, there are thousands of people on this in this convoy. I think the other thing that's really important to stress, which I think a lot of people in the Israeli government and supporters of the Israeli genocide and Western governments and leaders like Trump and Starmer lack, they lack imagination, they lack heart, they lack substance, moral substance and humanity. So when you say, actually, this is symbolic, they don't understand symbolism. You know, Greta said the same thing. This is symbolic. They all said this is symbolic. No one on the Madeleine genuinely thought that their amount of baby formula was going to transform things. It was symbolic, and symbolism is where hope resides. And when you have leaders of countries destroying hope, we turn to these events. We turn to these moments for symbolic rays of light,
to show light and hope, and to show human beings. There are way more many of us that are good. As my friend Samia says, humankind, kind in capital letters. There are way more of us. And I am so moved by these brave souls that do this sort of
We've got a very strong, and I'm pleased you're in the room and you're staying in the room, Mark Tullett. You're keeping it civil, which is good. So Mark Tullett, Trump, America, inflation down, interest rates down, gas down, unemployment down, $4 trillion investment. You also said a bit before that. I just wanted to share this other comment that you made. Civil war, laughter emoji. You mean getting rid of illegal immigrants that us Americans voted for? Yeah, and it's important to understand why Americans voted for this. Why did more blacks and Hispanics vote for Trump in 2020 than have ever voted for a Republican candidate? I don't necessarily disagree with what you've said. You've kind of described what's happened, and this is the cul-de-sac that America finds itself in. But I would like to ask you this, Mark Tullett. How do you square Trumpism, obviously your sympathies with that, getting rid of everyone, with the fact that America only exists on the bones, the foundations, and the graft of migrants, or the indigenous population, or slavery, or Hispanics?
That's how
America has only prospered due to the ways in which the white Americans, the white settler colonial settlers, exploited slavery and minorities. So how do you square that?
So I think there should be some
just curious. I'm just curious.
Gratitude,
or is it just a part of the history that you just go?
Imagine if we just shared it all a bit more, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious. I'm genuinely curious because when I think of America, I think America is a nation built on migration, as well as exploitation. But you know, got to look for some positives, haven't we? Just quickly, I want to say another huge thank you to Lynn J, who's just gifted 5 more memberships. For those of you who are in the membership area, a No Name Sunday show landed on Monday. We had Wi-Fi issues.
I've got 2 things.
There are lots and lots of historic shows you can go and watch. There's going to be another members walk this week, and if you go up to the higher level of membership, you can join us for a lovely cook along. Nice places, actually, the membership area, nice places to escape all of this stuff, as are our vlogs and stuff like that. We've been having issues with Wi-Fi because we're out and about, but you know, lots of other content is going to be landing later. So thank you, Lynn J.
And I've got a couple of things to tell you about, 2 events that I'm going to be at speaking. One that is free and one that is expensive because it's a fundraiser. So first of all, I'm going to tell you the first one. And Samia was here, you might have seen her messaging. I don't know if she's still here. So this is Samia's event. Samia is a Palestinian, her father is Palestinian. And
here,
she's here. And it's her event. Sharing real life stories.
So crucial for humanity's sake. So much has been dumbed down and twisted. No more.
Samia is such a good soul. She does so much. She does so many beautiful things to raise awareness and to remind us of the beauty of the Palestinians, and not just the horror and the trauma, which is very, very present. And I'm going to be talking at her event on the 21st of June, and it's in, and this is free, but you do have to book a ticket, but it is free. And it's in a really gorgeous space called the Oro Space in Sutton. There's going to be a light vegetarian buffet and for refreshments provided, but you can also buy beautiful cocktails. They do gorgeous cocktails, and it'll be on the roof. And then Samia's husband is going to be DJing, so there'll be music till 11 o'clock. I mean, Samia really does do these beautiful events, and actually the Instagram account for this is BRUTIFUL Tales. So this is going to be stories and silk, a creative solidarity talk and workshop for Palestine. So there'll be this silk, there'll be people gathering together and creating art at the same time. So there's going to be everything. There's going to be creativity, there's going to be solidarity, there's going to be music, there's going to be food, there's going to be cocktails, and it's free because the fantastic Samia does this sort of thing all the time. So, and also you can then find out about our space, which is an incredible space. So I'm going to put the link under here for a way for you to book the tickets, because you do have to book, even though it's free. And if you do book a ticket and you're not going to come, if it changes, please do let them know so they can let somebody else have a go. So that will go very quickly. So get your skates on for that. And then
GHS, will there be mocktails?
Yes, absolutely, because there will be, I'm sure, Muslims there as well. So it's like, and there's light refreshments, cocktails you have to buy. And then on the, let me get my dates right now. What date is the 11th of July is the Children Not Numbers event. And that is expensive because that's a massive fundraiser for pregnant women really out in Gaza that are having a time beyond anything you can imagine. And we've got some great speakers there. I'm hoping to convince Mark to say a few words there. Miriam Francoise, who lots of people are within the community, the activist community will know her. She is an absolute shining light within the movement, the Palestinian movement. And there's going to be Dubki, which is the Palestinian dancing. There's going to be music. There's going to be a barbecue. I'm hosting it. So I'm also going to put the link up for here. So I've got a free event and an expensive event. We look after you in every way.
Absolutely. Well, sounds wonderful. Sounds beautiful. So we'll pop those links underneath, Samia, and for everyone else as well. The debate is still ongoing with Mark Tullett about the exact nature of the history of slavery, but we'll have that conversation another time, Mark. Thank you so much for your contributions. Thank you for the discussion.
And thank you for being polite, because we do love to have, we don't want to be in a bloody echo chamber of our own thought. Good conversation, back and forth.
And Mark Tullett on that, why is it just about believe you and me? When lots of Americans who support Trump think that when we're critical of America, we don't look at ourselves.
Jesus.
We're a shit show.
We went everywhere.
Yeah, we're a shit show.
Pillaging people's lands. We
just tried to do it with a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew what was behind a cup of tea. No,
I mean, even just where we are, this hotel we're in, we
my God.
looking at some of the paintings up on the wall.
You travel around this country.
Jesus Christ.
Slavery. Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. Awful legacy. Okay. All right,
so
guys.
Please hit the subscribe button. You really help us out when you do that. Please join either the free event or, if you can afford it, the fundraiser event, because it'd be nice to meet some of you there, guys. So
take care, guys. Have a good day.